Hi, welcome to Gaston Spotlight. I'm Allie Taylor, and today I'm here with seamstress Linda Thompson and director of the Textile Technology program here at Gaston College, Sam Buff. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
So the Textile Technology program has been working on a very interesting program with the military recently. Would you care to elaborate on that? Tell us how that got started.
Sure. If I could, just maybe a couple of things about how we work, because we are part of the Gaston College family, and we're very happy to be a part of the family. But we operate kind of like a business. So we also have product development, testing, and training services, and so as part of that, that's kind of one of the ways that we started working with a company called Materials Modification in Virginia. And so what happened was there's a very talented team of chemists up there that know not a whole lot about textiles. That's okay, you don't have to know everything about textiles, because we have a very good team of textile folks just right here in Gaston County, and we're happy to help. So they contacted us, and we started working on a project for the U.S. military. And it's an entity called, it's about this long actually, but it's called NATIC is what most folks call it. And that's where a lot of the products that are developed that the soldiers wear. It's close to their body, it's uniforms, it's things that they live with every day. It could be backpacks, tents, those kind of things. In our case, it's a uniform. So if you think about the uniform that you see, and you probably think of, you've seen on the movies and just folks in your own hometowns, that are the camouflage uniforms. And they're made out of nylon and cotton. And I promise I'm not going to give a lecture on nylon and cotton.
Okay.
But they're easy to get and fairly cheap to make.
Okay.
And what would be nice is to have the protections that are on some of the more expensive uniforms available on the cheaper uniforms. So the flame retardant properties, in our case, that we were trying to get for the military, are only available on the really high-end products. So your special forces folks would be wearing those kind of uniforms, and they're extremely expensive. Warfare's changed today, and so we don't really fight wars like we used to in our parents' and grandparents' generations. A lot of it is door to door, it's house to house, it's in villages and towns. And so one of the things our, quite honestly, terrorists have gotten really good at is hurting us, and they do it in non-conventional ways. And so there's a lot of explosive devices out there that are designed to compromise our uniforms. And one of the ways to do that is spread a lot of fire and flame. And so our cotton burns and nylon drips. So neither is very good, but again, they're cheap, and that's what our regular folks are wearing. So what if we could design, if we got a team together, a uniform that's cheap to make so everybody can have one that'll accomplish some flame retardant properties. So that's kind of said a lot to say this. We're just trying to help make the uniform more protective for our average, everyday folks out there.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's so cool. So, Ms. Thompson, how did you get on the project?
This guy right here found me. Somebody turned him on to a sewing place that had my business cards, So Much Fun in Lowell, and he gave me a call, and we talked about it, and he gave me the job. I just took it, and I enjoyed doing it. It was a hard job, but it was good. I felt good about it.
That's nice. What exactly do you do, like, with the project? Because you're a seamstress. Do you?
Well, I just sewed the uniforms for him.
So did they give you the
material?
material?
To do the prototype and everything.
Okay, nice. So,
She just glossed over that like it was nothing. It's a lot harder than that. For one thing, it took me months to find her, because it's easy to find someone, and you may experience this too if you take your clothes to the cleaners and you need a pants hemmed, or as you get older, maybe something let out or adjusted. Those things are fairly easy to find, but to show up at her house with a pile of fabric and say, can you make me a first-class military uniform with no patterns, no nothing, just from scratch, here you go, and I need it, like now.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And so there's so many components, and it's not just a shirt like I have on. There's all kinds of pockets, and they're at weird angles, and they all have a purpose for the folks wearing them. But yeah, I just didn't want her to make that sound so easy, like it was nothing.
But I was about to ask you, how hard was it to make those flame retardant uniforms?
Well, it was pretty hard, and by the time I got to the end of the job, I was doing them in my sleep.
Wow. So what was that like? The whole process, like what's involved when you have to make those?
Well, a lot of pieces have to be cut, and it was like working a jigsaw puzzle.
Oh, okay.
I had no guidance, you know. I just had to work it out here to be able to work it out here. And the fabric itself, it sewed fairly easy. But it was the main part of it is just being able to put the jigsaw together. I mean, a lot of flaps, a lot of pleats, a lot of pockets.
I'm sure. So you guys have a prototype now, right? What happens next now that you have that?
Well, they set it on fire. So that's what happens. And so there's several things that they're trying to accomplish here. One is they want it to have the protective properties, but two, they want it to be somewhat permanent. So if they treat materials, these fabrics with flame retardant materials, they don't want them to wash off.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's great until you wash it that first time and it's gone. There's no value.
Gotcha.
So they'll launder it a lot, 20 to 50 times, and make sure that the performance at the first wash is just as good as it is 20, 50 times later. And then they literally will set it on fire. And so their labs up there are fantastic, and they put it on a mannequin. So it's a little mannequin just like us, has little thermocouples all over it so it can detect how your protection properties are performing, and then they pass or fail it. So that's kind of what happens next. And if it does well enough, then we'll go on to another phase and make more uniforms.
Gotcha. That's so cool. So would you say it turned out? Did it turn out pretty well? I mean, it took a lot of hard work from both sides, but would you say that the prototypes now they're pretty well, or?
I talked to the guys in Virginia last week, the materials modification folks. They're very happy. They're in the evaluation phase up at Natick now, so we just don't know at this point. We're just kind of waiting to hear back. But we were happy, I think, with our team, with our performance and what we were able to produce.
Nice. So what other projects is the Textile Center working on right now?
It's all over the place. I tell you, it's a super interesting place to work. We sign a lot of non-disclosure agreements, which means I can't tell you all the details.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I can tell you a few things that I think are interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and his dad had just had a heart valve replacement. And it was, in the past, they would have to actually open you up, the chest up, to do the surgery, and now they can just kind of go up through your leg. And so I started asking him more questions about it, and I was like, well, who made it? And so he said, I can't remember, but I took a picture of it before they put it in. And sure enough, it was a heart valve we worked on right here in Gaston County.
Oh my goodness.
So the early prototypes were made here.
Wow.
That went in one of my friend's dads, and now his ticker's working great. So I'm just happy as I can be. But all kinds of projects. We work on a lot of protection. So bulletproof vest and those kind of things, flame retardant is big. Hemp is kind of having a revolution right now. So it's not just the oils that are extracted, but it's what do you do with the plant itself once you get those things out. So it's all over the place. There's just a lot of good stories to tell.
Wow, that's so interesting. That's so cool. I didn't know that they were doing that type of stuff here.
Oh yeah,
That's so cool to know.
I could keep going. I'd be one big advertisement for the Textile Center.
That's so awesome. So, Ms. Thompson, what other projects are you working on right now? Are you working on anything else?
I've just spent the last 2 weeks doing a prototype on a fire-breathing dragon.
Wow.
It's for the blow-up art for yards. They set them on the motor fans and blows
Okay.
this stuff up. First time to do this too. And I thought the uniforms were a challenge. This is 3 times the challenge because I'm working in the dark on this thing from a 2-inch picture and no guidance, no instructions, no nothing, and I'm having to turn this thing into a 3-foot monster and open its mouth where the picture don't even show me anything like that, and have fire coming out of its mouth. And I hadn't seen the test on it yet, but I'm wanting to see the test. I've got it made now. I've been buried for 2 weeks in this thing, and 5 headaches.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But that's what I've been working on for the last 2 weeks. That's about all I've got in the line right now.
That's awesome. So, if someone were looking for a seamstress, how could they find you or contact you?
I have my business cards out at Mary Jo's Cloth Store in
Okay.
Gastonia,
Yeah.
and Lowell at So Much Fun.
Okay.
I
know
have
those.
business cards out at those two places, and now I'll have business cards out at Ledford's in Lincolnton. It's a cloth store,
Okay.
and I'm in Bessemer City. It don't have my address on the card, but it has my phone number. Anybody calls me needing work, I give them my address, they GPS, and they get to me.
Okay, that's so neat. That's awesome. So yeah, if you need to find a great seamstress, go to those places and you can find her there. All right, well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. This has been awesome. So glad you could be
Thank
here
you.
today.
Pleasure.
This has been Gaston Spotlight, and we'll see you guys next time.